Number 15. Route 61 Discovery. Near Schuylkill Haven in Pennsylvania, a road crew was shoveling dirt in their construction of Route 61 when they came across something odd. Hundreds of bones. Even worse was that they were human. Don't worry, they weren't fresh. In fact, they were centuries old. The owners of the property, the Bachmans, were told that something like this might lie below, but who put these bones here? Some historians suggest that Spanish influenza crushed the county in 1918. 1,600 people passed over the course of a month. This resulted in this site in Schuylkill Haven. As you can probably imagine, during the heat of this event, a lot of fear was instilled in the county folk of the day. There was a genuine panic. Tom Drogalis, member of the Schuylkill County Historical Society, said, "Everything closed. Schools, hospitals. The only thing left open were drugstores." Though panic surged through the people back in 1918, historians were having a heyday with this discovery. Bones were collected and tested. DNA tests were run to identify them and perhaps notify still living families of their long-lost relatives. An archaeology team was tasked with researching the lot. Needless to say, while all this was going down, construction was delayed on Route 61. Enjoy the detour while you can. Route 61 is probably haunted now. Number 14. Pablo Escobar's secret safe. Love him or hate him, Pablo Escobar is one of the most infamous and influential people in history. Despite his reputation, Escobar owned some property in America, on Miami Beach, overlooking Biscayne Bay in fact. His 33,000 square foot lot and 7,336 square foot pink home with 4 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a pool, and a garage no doubt held many secrets. 5860 North Bay Road saw a lot of powder travel through in its day, but the government seized property spent 29 years off the market, quiet, reserved, and probably picked over by the feds. Still, it turns out the feds didn't uncover all of the mansion's secrets. Recently, the property's new owner decided to start off fresh. While his construction crew was in the process of demolishing the property, they came across something surprising, or perhaps not so surprising if you know Escobar's history. With one wall left to be demolished, the construction worker who was running an excavator, Miguel Mato, discovered a gray safe inside. We had left one of the walls because they had to film a scene for the documentary. When I started to knock it down, a piece of rubble hit the foundation. The floor sunk and I saw it. Miguel recounted the event for the Miami Herald. It was something gray. I grabbed it with the excavator's claw, realized it was a safe, and started to yell to tell them. While some might believe this event to be staged, Christian de Bourgeois, one of the property owners and fast food chain founder of Chicken Kitchen, insists reality is stranger than fiction. "This is real," Christian said. "It's still locked. It's very, very heavy. We can't believe it. Now Pablito is my best friend." The documentary mentioned is Velopi. It investigates the history of Escobar's dealings in the mansion, which used to serve as a second home for the Colombian kingpin's runners and an area to offload all of his product. The property owners have yet to unlock the safe, so the contents inside continue to be a mystery. Whatever's inside must be heavy, as the 2x2 foot safe weighs around 600 to 700 pounds. The owner has a guess. "I think it has gold or diamonds," he said. "Who knows?" Number 13. A bomb shelter. Imagine starting construction on a new soccer field only to find a mysterious, secret below-ground shelter. That's exactly what happened in the Bay Area, across from the San Jose airport, where the San Jose Earthquakes professional soccer field was being built. As construction crews began to dig to make way for the stadium, without any idea what was underneath, the grand opening of the field was soon delayed. We thought it was a 6-inch concrete slab on the site, but when we got down there, we started finding stuff. They called them icebergs because they'd hit one and not even know how deep it was. San Jose Earthquake's president Dave Cavall said, "What the so-called icebergs held up was a network of secret vaults and sub-vaults, 70 to be exact, with one as big as an Olympic pool. They're believed to be bomb shelters. One of the areas had a high water table, which filled one of the vaults with such a large volume of water that 600 tons of rocks were required to remove it. Although building your team's field over top of shelters doesn't sound like a great start, let's just hope the San Jose Earthquakes don't end up cursed forever by this bad luck." Number 12. The Terracotta Army. While constructing a well, a few lowly professional farmers in Shaanxi province were probably not expecting to happen upon one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, but they did. An emperor's tomb, and not just any tomb, Qin Shi Huang's tomb, one that housed an entire army. The centuries-old tomb was uncovered on March 29, 1974, as digging for the well was being done just shy of a mile east of this emperor's mound. The first emperor of China, who lived between 259 BC to 210 BC, has built himself a life-sized army to defend him in the unknown beyond. Although the discovery was no doubt incredible, fragments of the figures had been popping up in the region for centuries prior, but it was this bit of well digging by some farmers that uncovered the lot of it. The tomb itself contains high levels of mercury, so whatever is inside the pyramid-shaped chamber remains a mystery, while excavation is still underway, and the emperor's chamber and the contained treasures that may lie therein continue to mystify Chinese archaeologists. Tourists can visit the museum complex and experience the life-size specially carved figures for themselves. It houses an incredible underground network of caves, including a drainage system that was well ahead of its time. Number 11. A 1-ton bomb. A 620 kilogram or 1,300 pound bomb was discovered in Belgrade earlier this year. The 1-ton German bomb resulted in a site excavation as well as evacuating 1,200 folks who lived in the surrounding area. The capacity of this device could have destroyed the 400-meter plot of land on which it was found. They took the precautionary measure of constructing a bunker around the bomb prior to its extraction. Number 10. Medieval treasure. The UK isn't the only place to find medieval mysteries during construction. In Austria in 2007, a man was renovating his garden pool when he stumbled upon a real-life treasure trove buried in the construction site. Inside, 3 kilos or 6.6 pounds of over 200 rings, gold-plated silver plates, bejeweled belt buckles, and brooches that are estimated to be around 650 years old. The treasure included fossilized coral and additional jewels and ornaments. The medieval treasure trove is believed to include jewelry created specially for a royal court. The National Antiques Department and the Academy of Sciences were looking into the find. We have in front of us high-end products made for the highest consumer class of Central Europe. One of the Middle Age Academy members said, government experts have estimated that the current worth of the trove is around 100,000 euros. But where did this treasure come from? Why was it buried here in this man's backyard? Some officials believe the buried treasure was plundered by a pirate. Others believe it could have simply been buried by a trader who was hiding the jewels away for safekeeping. The location of the treasure was along a main medieval trading route between Italy and Poland, so this could very well be the case. Who knows what happened to the trader after he put down the shovel? All we know for sure is he never returned. Number 9. A Mayan mural. Probably one of the most artistically incredible finds during a home renovation was a Guatemalan family's discovery of a series of incredible Mayan murals recovered beneath loads of paint on their home's walls. The powerful Mayan civilization flourished from 2000 BC to 250 AD. The Mayans made great advancements in mathematics, astronomy, architecture, and art. They're also known for rituals more dark and twisted. Cities in El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, and Honduras all have their roots in the Mayan civilization. As they chipped the kitchen's wall plaster away above the stove, the Ramirez family found the colorful centuries-old murals, which were verified as authentic by archaeologists. Researchers have said the home is about 300 years old, similar to construction styles of the 17th and 18th centuries. A particularly interesting Mesoamerican mural showed a parade of vivid figures dressed in traditional Spanish and Mayan garb. Some of these figures appear to be grasping human hearts. The entire series seems to depict a so-called conquest dance. According to archaeologist William Saturno of Boston University, the conquest dance is a Mayan ritual that's still performed today, unfolding a depiction of the Spanish invasion and the conversion of the Mayans. Sadly, since the old plaster has become exposed to air, the paintings have started to fade. This is unfortunate, as the ancient work is rare. We don't get a lot of this type of artwork, Saturno said. It's not commonly preserved in the New World. Number 8. A 700-year-old mummy. In the city of Taichu in eastern China, beneath a road as construction was underway, the mummified woman from the Ming Dynasty was uncovered by the construction crew in 2011. That's a 700-year-old preserved body we're talking about. She was found submerged in brown liquid, standing a little under 5 feet. The incredibly well-preserved mystery woman must have been of the aristocracy, as she wore jewelry, fine silk robes, and slippers. Even more incredible was that her eyebrows and hair had also been preserved in full. The director of Taichu Museum estimated that she was from the Ming Dynasty after looking over her clothing, jewels, and mummified state. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't touch a mummy with a 10-foot pole. This crew has no idea what kind of curses are bound to follow. Number 7. A walrus in a box. As the norm in England, archaeological excavations are done prior to any construction. During one of these excavations on a construction site meant to renovate and expand London Street Station, a site similar to number 15 dating back from the 19th century, was found below the station. While this may seem strange enough, that's not even the most mysterious part. Amongst the 1,500 people was a 4-meter-long walrus inside a crate. Apparently, the walrus had a human family, as 8 sets of humans were discovered within the crate as well. The zoologist and archaeologist who studied this event don't have a clue where they came from. It's a bit of a mystery. Archaeologist Phil Emery told The Times, "We did some research to see if we could find any record of a walrus being dealt with, for example, by the London Zoological Society, but we drew a blank." Zoologist Alan Pipe of the Museum of London Archaeology remarked that this wasn't the first exotic animal that he's come across on his excavations across London, which have included wild cats and ostriches. Although we have considerable evidence of whales in London, from porpoises up to blue whales, in all my experience, we haven't had any other bones of walruses. In this case, they think it's more likely that whalers came upon the walrus and sold it for research and/or trade. Their ivory tusks, for instance, might have went for a generous sum, and their skins were often used to buff metal. Beyond the mystery of how the walrus wound up in London and how it wound up below a station in a crate with other humans, this mystery may never be solved. Number 6. An escaped convict's uniform. Australia was once a prison colony, so it's probably not a huge surprise that convict uniforms were the fashion here, and Norfolk Bay Convict Station, built in 1838, served as a transport hub for both goods, convicts, and other folks. Norfolk Bay, with its relatively serene waters, led to Port Arthur, with its rocky shores. The prisoners were literal workhorses. They pulled heavy carts of passengers and goods by land from the Norfolk Station station to Port Arthur, which was considered a safer mode of transport than weathering choppy waves atop rocky shores, although one wonders if the passengers felt that way, with hungry, angry convicts sweating and toiling for their benefit. Certainly, regular passengers were on some kind of hit list. When Port Arthur closed for good in 1877, the first inn appeared in place of Norfolk Bay Convict Station. In the 20th century, it became a B&B. During the renovation and reconstruction, a convict's uniform was happened upon, stashed away in the ceiling of the joint. It's believed that a runaway convict hid his uniform before making a daring escape. Only he knows if he made it back home or survived the outback's vast array of spiders, snakes, and other animals. Or maybe he took out one of the visitors on his hit list. Number 5. A witch bottle. In 2004, builders in Greenwich, London, stumbled upon one of the most sinister and wickedest finds ever discovered during construction, something known as a witch bottle. A witch bottle was a device that 16th and 17th century British people believed would ward off evil. Whenever someone in the household felt sick or was met with an unfortunate event, they would point their finger at the resident witch. To deflect witches' curses, people would hide the witch bottles in the walls. Doing so was supposed to make the spell rebound back on the witch. Alan Massey, a retired chemist familiar with the witchy bottles, has said, "The theory was that the nails and the bent pins would aggravate the witch when she passed water and torment her so badly that she would take the spell back off you." The wine jug found during redevelopment has been studied by scientists. Somewhere around 200 bottles have been discovered over time, but this is the first one whose contents is completely undisturbed. As archaeologists dug up the bottle, which was 1.5 meters underground, the sounds it made when it was shaken indicated that there was liquid and metal inside. X-rays showed nails and pins in the neck of the jug. Additionally, there was hair, navel fluff, fingernails, and a leather heart pierced by a nail. Sulfur or brimstone had also been mixed in. So many have been dug up and their contents washed away down the sink, Massey said. This is the first one that has been opened scientifically. Number 4. A sword in a well. King Arthur's not the only one to find Excalibur in England. Colin Steer was replacing floor joists in his home when he discovered two mysterious and perhaps magical things: a medieval well, and in the well, a sword. There had always been a bit of a divot in the living room floor, but it wasn't until Steer decided to do some home construction that he uncovered the deep shaft beneath the floorboards. The brick shaft was filled with dirt, so Steer started digging. He only got about a foot deep when his wife made him stop his mission, but the mysterious shaft never left Steer's mind. When he retired, he got some friends together to help excavate the hole, which they later discovered was a 16th century well that was 17 feet deep. The well even appears on 16th century plans of the plot of land. The best was yet to come, however. During their digging, the men found an ancient rusted sword. Its placement with the blade stuck between the well shaft's bricks made some believe that the sword owner may have been trying to climb out of the well. Steer may have very well uncovered history, but in doing so, he may have also let a ghostly knight out of his deep dark well. I'd lock that thing back up if I were him. Number 3. A medieval English mansion. In Somerset, England, construction was beginning on a housing development. As is routine in England, an archaeological dig was done in the area prior to construction. While normally records indicate whether or not structures will be uncovered in just such an excavation, this one turned up a mystery that wasn't on record: a 12th century medieval mansion. Although the foundation of the mansion remained, as you can imagine, archaeologists were flying high with the spectacular discovery. The Somerset Country Council Senior Historic Environment Officer stated, "This sort of thing turning up, a large medieval building of such high status, without any surviving historical records, it's exceptionally mysterious and strange. It looks as if it's a previously unrecorded, undocumented, high-status ecclesiastical manor house. Some things are as rare as hen's teeth." How could a manor that's 900 years old be wiped off the map, only to reappear in history on a modern-day construction site? What we do know is that the stone foundation indicates the owners were affluent and the mansion was large and grand. Other than the foundation, not many other materials were found on the excavation site. Elaborate floor tiles and glazed ceramic roof tiles again confirm the property's impressive nature. By thus far, we can only guess what the buildings were, who they belonged to, and what their purposes may have been. The building complex may have belonged to a medieval, aristocratic family, as one of the tiles found indicates a shield motif that has been linked to St. Barb, a family who lived in Somerset and whose ancestors belonged to Queen Elizabeth I's court in the late 1500s. These are only conjectures, however. Whatever the case, the mysterious mansion is astounding. Bob Davis, the senior buildings archaeologist at Wessex, said, "This is a significant find and therefore very exciting, particularly as there are no documentary records that such a site ever existed here." Number 2. The Port of Theodosius. When you're drilling for an underground rail tunnel, you don't expect to happen upon an ancient Byzantine port that's over 1,500 years old, but that's what happened in Istanbul, as engineers discovered some incredible ruins of the past. As with any other once prosperous empirical city, Istanbul is full of relics, but it wasn't until 2006 that engineers stumbled upon the port of Theodosius in the Yenkapi neighborhood. The archaeological dig of the famous ancient port is turning out to be the biggest in the city's history. The revelations thus far are pretty incredible. 8 sunken ships, a gated entrance, and a church hall have all been discovered amongst the ruins. The boats provide some historical missing link into shipbuilding, fusing old technologies with new ones. In its build, more mysteries are bound to be uncovered amongst the 4x2x3 city blocks across, which archaeologists are tolling away. Of course, structures aren't the only things to be found. Clay pots, trade goods, and ancient bones are being cataloged by the minute. "We found things that shed important light on the history of Istanbul," said the archaeological project lead. "It's not every day you stumble upon a mysterious ancient port during construction, so dig deep, and who knows what else will be discovered." Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1. Vikings. It's no secret that Vikings weren't known to be the nicest and friendliest of people, so it's no wonder a tangled up pit of 51 of them were discovered in southern England. The 1,000-year-old pit was filled with Vikings who had had their heads removed, though they were in the pit with them. The discovery took place during an archaeological survey done before road construction. Archaeologists are trying to identify the men who are believed to be Viking invaders, which the English had been battling. This battle didn't go well for the Vikings, unfortunately, as evident with this discovery. England, at this point in history, had been split between 2 factions. The west and south were settled by the Germanic Anglo-Saxons, while the east and north were settled by the Danish. The Anglo-Saxons had colonized and founded the country of Great Britain. Needless to say, no Vikings were wanted here. The hilltop pit was the norm for the Anglo-Saxons and indicates that locals likely battled the Vikings. If they were believed to be victims of the Vikings, they'd be scattered all over. Locations like this are classic sites in late Saxon and medieval times, scholars said. If you're a Viking raider, you're much more likely to leave people where you drop them, in the town or on the beach. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!